You know, Home Alone and Home Alone 2 Lost in New York are Christmas classics. I enjoy watching these two films every holiday season, and they're my absolute favorite Christmas movies when it comes to Christmas movies. Elf is right up there next to it. Maybe I should do Elf one year, but it's not going to be this year. You know why? For some reason, I got to review this again. Both of them. I've already reviewed these movies. Why are we doing it again? Well, let me explain. There's one particular character in these films that deserves an entire holiday special. Absolutely 100% holiday special. It's one of the family members of the McCallister family. Oh, do you know where we're going? Do we know where we're going with this? Because you know what? I got some grievances to air out with this particular family member of the McCallister family. Guess what? Oh, you know what I'm about to get. I got my poll. Festivus is coming up as well. I got some grievances to air out regarding to McCallister family member, Uncle frickin' Frank. So as per usual, get yourself a Beverly Oz. No. That's not enough. That's not enough. Better save the rest for later, because you're gonna need it. Sit back and relax as we dive into Uncle Frank. To understand Uncle Frank, first we got to give a little background, a biography, if you will, of Frank McCallister. Frank McCallister, better known as Uncle Frank to all of us who watch these films, is the older brother of Peter and Rob McCallister in Home Alone and Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. The fact is, you don't ever see Uncle Rob in any of these movies. You hear about Uncle Rob, but he's nowhere to be seen. Did I miss him somewhere? Did you see him? We see Peter, obviously, because that's Kevin's father. Let's move on. Frank is married to Leslie McCallister and fathers Tracy, Sandra, Brooke, and the bedwetter himself, Fuller. Yeah, Fuller McCallister. Fun fact, Fuller McCallister is Macaulay Culkin's brother in real life. A little tidbit for you there, if you didn't know. I think a lot of people already knew that. Uncle Frank resides in Ohio with his wife and children. The family traveled to Chicago, Illinois for Christmas in 1990 to stay at Peter McCallister's home. The entire family plans to travel to Paris, where his younger brother Rob relocated to Paris as part of a job promotion during the summer. Frank seems to be a good standing man, a good family man. He does. Seems nice, right? Wrong. 100% absolutely omega wrong. Fasten your seatbelts. It's about to be a bumpy ride as I dive more into Uncle Frank and why he's a terrible, terrible human being. Allow me to read you a quote, a famous quote, from the man known as Frank McCallister, aka Uncle Frank, aka to Kevin, Mr. Cheapskate. Look what you did, you little jerk. Frank to Kevin. Quote, get out of here, you nosy little pervert, or I'm going to slap you silly. Frank to Kevin. Does that sound like an upstanding family man to you? No, not at all. Not with these phrases, not with these lines as he's bullying a little kid that's 8 to 10 years old. We have all, growing up, quoted these quotes from Uncle Frank. Remember the Talkboy tape recorder? Oh man, good times with those things. They even released a Talk Girl that my sister had. So I had one, my sister had one. We both got one for Christmas that same year. The popularity of Home Alone 2 in the early 90s during the Christmas season was epic with the tape recorder. Man, cult classic. Is it a cult classic? Nah, just straight up classic. It's a classic film. Not those other Home Alone movies that came out afterwards. We're not even going to talk about those. We're not even going to acknowledge their existence because they don't exist to me. Throw those away. Lock them away in the Disney Vault forever. I don't care if they aren't Disney movies. That is what the Disney Vault is for. Putting them away forever. In purgatory. To be quite honest, I see Kevin McCallister as the black sheep of the McCallister family. Everybody dogs on this kid. Everybody makes fun of him, gives him such a hard time. It is ridiculous. Don't get me wrong, Kevin's no perfect angel by any stretch of the means. But you have to feel for the kid. You have to feel for what he goes through, especially with his Uncle Frank and his older brother Buzz. Who's right up there with him? Uncle Frank or Buzz? Well, he lives with Buzz, so probably gets the worst time with Buzz. Frank, they only see him once in a probably great while during the holidays, but still, he's vicious and mean. The first Home Alone film starts out with the family preparing to leave the night before for the big trip to Paris. Kevin complains to his mom about his Uncle Frank not letting him watch the movie. Now, as a parent myself with a kid, I can understand that. You know, off to a good start with Uncle Frank. Maybe the movie is not suitable for kids his age, and he's trying to be protective of him. And I'm kind of thinking about this a little deeper because I'm wondering if that particular movie that Kevin complains about that Frank is not allowing him to watch is that very film, Angels with Filthy Souls. Because later on, when he's home alone, he's watching that film. All right? And I could see this as that particular movie that he wasn't allowed to watch. It's like, I'm home alone. I'm eating all this junk food. I'm going to watch Angels with Filthy Souls. And then he yells for his mom during the shoot 'em up scene. There's a reason. There's a reason why they didn't want you to watch that film, Kevin. So maybe Uncle Frank was in good standings with this one. All right, I'll give him a pass on this one. Let's examine the next scene with Uncle Frank and the pizza boy from Little Nero's Pizza. Frank retrieves the pizza ordered by the family, but left the responsibility of paying for the pizzas for his brother Peter McCallister. It's my brother's house. He'll take care of it, is what he says in this film. Later on in the kitchen, Leslie McCallister to Frank McCallister, she says this, Frank, you've got the money. Frank replies back, traveler's checks, honey. Kate replies, the mom of Kevin, don't worry, Frank, we've got cash. Knowing that Frank is who he is, a cheapskate. And here's the golden quote that I missed all these years until I was an adult. I didn't catch this because it goes quick. You have to pay attention. Peter says this, I bet those traveler checks are no good in France. They know he's a cheapskate. They all know it. Every single, from Peter to Kate, they know how thrifty, how cheap, how Uncle Frank really is. They see it. They see it. They absolutely see it. He is skating by getting free stuff. He's working the system. Man, I tell you, Frank is a cheapskate. Kevin's right to call him that. We'll get into that in a moment. Back in the kitchen scene, while the family's enjoying pizza that, may I add, did not yet pay for as they left the boy standing there still waiting for payment at the door. Kevin and Buzz gets into it over cheese pizza because all the cheese pizza's gone. Kevin shoves Buzz, which in my opinion, he deserves it for being a jerk. But, you know, parents going to intervene, which they did. The parents intervened, you know, and tried to calm the chaos down. But here it is. Frank leaps back in his chair. He pins his own son Fuller from the chair to the wall. And then he stands up as Kevin was getting scolded by his mom. Look what you did, you little jerk. And a room goes silent. Oh, it goes silent. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. I'm out of beverage. Look, I get Frank's upset about the mess and the chaos that happened. But he had no right to shout out the phrase, "Look what you did, you little jerk," while his parents were already dealing with him. I'm sorry, but if somebody else stepped in while I was taking care of business with my kid and they decided to interject, they're going to get punched in the face. The tables will turn at that point. You do not step in while I'm handling my business. You dig? And Uncle Frank was out of line. He was absolutely 100% out of line, calling Kevin a jerk while his mom was dealing with him already. But let's take it up a little bit further. On the plane, while they were flying first class, Frank was trying to get champagne, and he said the phrase, "It's free, isn't it?" Continuing with more of the cheapskate stuff and trying to get free stuff. I mean, I like free stuff. Who doesn't? But this is getting crazy. And then later on, he's stealing some crystal silverware or whatever it is and tells his wife to put it in her purse. He's stealing on the plane. Come on. And then while on mid-flight, when Kate realizes Kevin was left home alone, Frank tries to make Kate feel better by comparing forgetting their child to forgetting his reading glasses. I can't with this anymore. I got to finish this. We got to jump to Home Alone 2. All right? Home Alone 2. Here we go. Here we go. At the beginning of the movie, Home Alone 2, Kevin needs to get his tie that's hanging on the doorknob of the bathroom where Uncle Frank is currently showering in. Kevin voices his concern about what Frank told him, that if he saw him naked, he would grow up not feeling like a real man, whatever that means. But Peter insists on him going in there and get the tie and just don't look at anything. But then you get to the bathroom scene and here's Frank karaokeing away to the song Cool Jerk. Imagine Uncle Frank as a professional wrestler coming out to this very song. Man, it's perfect. He's a cool jerk. Because he is a jerk. He's not cool, but he's a jerk. And Kevin should have honestly just left with the tie. In and out. It was Operation In and Out. Get the tie and get out of the bathroom without seeing anything. But nope. He had to go to the extra level and tape record his uncle singing in the shower with the talk boy. And then he gets busted with the famous quote, "Get out of here, you nosy little pervert, or I'm going to slap you silly." Do you see how aggressive Frank is? He could have just said, "Get out of here." But he didn't need to go to the extent of slapping him and threatening violence to Kevin. Uncle of the Year, everybody. Uncle of the Year. I wonder how he handles his own children now. So the family goes to the school Christmas pageant program where the kids are involved. Frank, of course, is asleep during it and is awakened about Kevin's solo by his own wife. However, Buzz fashion, he humiliates Kevin during his solo by just drumming on his head with the little candles. And the family is mortified by this. They're mortified by it. And here it is. Uncle Frank is laughing hysterically at the entire thing while his wife is trying to calm him down and tell him to stop it and cut it out. I can't with Frank anymore. But here we go. Let's just keep going. And of course, Kevin gets blamed because he decks Buzz, causing everyone to fall off the stage. Creates a scene. So he's in trouble too. If he didn't do anything, it would have been 100% Buzz. Absolutely 100% Buzz. Would he got away with murder? Probably. But let's keep going. Then we get back to the house where a trial is taking place. Legitimately, it is a family trial. Does this happen often? I don't know. It's kind of intriguing. Then Buzz goes on with his apology to the family, but not really. He's just doing it for show. We know it because he whispers to Kevin, beat that, you little trout sniffer. It was all for show. The family bought into it. And they're like, oh, Buzz, that's so amazing. That's amazing. Oh, Buzz, that was great. Oh, that was awesome. Give him an award. That was a great speech, Buzz. Thank you for your great apology. Buzz admitted and said that his prank was immature. Frank, of course, goes on saying, immature or not, it was doggone hilarious. And he's still laughing about it. He is still laughing about it with his son, Fuller. So they have a bond going on, you could tell, that he likes it too. He's like, yeah, Dad, that was awesome. It's great. They're still laughing about it. And, of course, the parents turn to look at him kind of a little bit with disgust, just a little bit, knowing that, dude, cut it out. That's our kid. But you know what? Y'all didn't step in whenever he jumped in with his comments about look what you did, you little jerk. So, family, what's up? Got problems. But then Kevin goes off on the family. He says he's not sorry. He's not apologizing. He did what he did because Buzz humiliated him. And since they're all so stupid to believe his lies, he let him have it. And then, guess what happens? Another great quote from Uncle Frank. Quote, you better not wreck my trip, you little sourpuss. Your dad is paying good money for it. Let's take a moment and break this quote down. Not wreck my trip. Notice he used the word my. It's about him. He's making it about him. And then number 2, your dad is paying good money for it, meaning he's not paying a dime. Once again clarifying that he is 100% selfish and a cheapskate. Kevin's rebuttal back to Frank, though, it's amazing. Oh, I wouldn't want to spoil your fun, Mr. Cheapskate. Clearly, Kevin sees his uncle for what he truly is. He's wiser now in this film about his family members, especially his Uncle Frank. Was it rude to say as a kid? Absolutely. Absolutely disrespectful to say back to him. But at the same time, he was honest and brutal and exposed Uncle Frank for who he truly is. Mr. Cheapskate, a selfish person. All right? The reaction by the family, of course, shocked that he said that, which again, Peter and Kate absolutely already knew this. They weren't going to say in front of him. Somebody had to at some point. Somebody just had to say it. Somebody had to finally say it. And Kevin did it. He said it. He had enough. If nobody else is going to say it, let the 10-year-old kid in this movie do it. But let me put this disclaimer. Though hilarious and deserving, kids, I do not condone you disrespecting your elders. All right? Kevin's actions, of course, clearly will get him in bigger trouble now because of what he said. But truth is truth. Frank is what he is. All right? And Kevin sees Frank for what he truly is. Absolutely. And the fact is, Kevin deserves to get in bigger trouble for what he said. He does deserve to get in trouble for being disrespectful for his comments. Somebody had to tell Frank. Somebody had to say it. If it wasn't going to be his own brother. But maybe they're trying to keep the peace, knowing that Frank is what he is. And so pretty much Uncle Frank is really the beginnings of both movies. He takes a back seat through the rest of it. But overall, let's wrap this up here. Uncle Frank is a grumpy, self-centered, entitled man, constantly thinking of his own needs and often looks on the negative side of things. Shamelessly materialistic, he's greedy, mooching off his brother Peter, and attempts to steal champagne flutes, including the salt and pepper containers during the flight to Paris. Frank is strict, he's cruel, he's intimidating, he's aggressive, even antagonistic, if I can get those words out, and hostile towards Kevin. Calling Kevin a jerk or a pervert, laughing at Kevin's misfortunes during a pageant. Uncle of the Year. Uncle of the Year. But without his character, the Home Alone films wouldn't be the same. Sure, it's a minor role, but it adds to the film. But he's still a piece of crap at the end of the day. The actor that plays him did a fantastic job playing this role. Fantastic. And with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Be safe out there and take care.